Welcome to the Unit 7.4 Synopsis video. This video gives a brief summary of MyStar's Unit 7.4, the stuff we use and where it comes from, the life cycle of building materials. Unit 7.4 is one of 4 7th grade units that focus on energy and matter and addresses several NGSS concepts related to the engineering process. The unit takes between 20 and 27 50-minute class periods to complete. The unit challenge question for 7.4 is, how can growing societies reduce impacts on Earth systems and conserve natural resources through their choice of building materials? In this unit, we consider one of the products we use to construct the buildings in our communities, building insulation. In the unit challenge scenario, the mayor of your town is competing for an environmental award, which, if won, will provide many benefits to the community. The mayor has decided to plan a new community center building to win this award. In order to win, the mayor has commissioned your class to investigate 4 different insulation materials to be used inside the building's walls. Your class will provide an explanation based on science and engineering ideas on why a specific insulation material is the best choice for this building. That is, the material which does the best job of saving energy used to heat and cool the building, and also minimizes negative impacts on Earth systems during its entire life cycle. During this unit, the class is divided into small research teams, each team examining 1 out of 4 common insulation materials. The 4 insulation types are fiberglass, cellulose, polystyrene, and rock wool. You are encouraged to adjust the audience, mayor, purpose, community center, and other aspects of the scenario in order to make it most relevant to students. For example, the students could be researching insulation that will be used in a new wing of their school building, a new library, or perhaps a warming shed next to an outdoor ice rink. For grade 7, the first semester unifying cross-cutting concept is energy and matter. Remember, these unifying cross-cutting concepts allow students to see connections between units while deepening their ability to recognize each cross-cutting concept in multiple applications. Now that you have an idea of the unit challenge for Unit 7.4, we'll take a quick look at the 9 lessons within this unit. Each lesson helps students to attain the necessary skills and content to evaluate 4 insulation types. In this lesson, students examine a range of home construction designs and materials from around the world and over time. They consider the reasons why certain materials are chosen over others when building homes and are introduced to the unit challenge. Lesson 2 introduces students to a product life cycle and its connection to the unit challenge scenario. Students compare the life cycle of a butterfly with that of a water bottle. Like most analogies, this one isn't perfect, but it is used to connect what students already know, a butterfly life cycle, to the new concept of a product life cycle. The salient point here is both the butterfly and the bottle have a lifespan which can be divided into distinct stages from beginning to end. This graphical representation is an example of a system model, which is one of the NGSS cross-cutting concepts. Models help us understand and pass along ideas in science and engineering applications. In this MyStar unit, the life cycle model is used in an engineering context to help us make wise decisions about using the natural resources we have on Earth. Students will use a product life cycle model throughout this unit to tie the disciplinary core ideas, DCIs, together in a meaningful way. Pause the screencast here and review the product life cycle model. Hopefully, you've noticed 2 key features of the product life cycle model. First, for each stage there is an outputs arrow, which represents the impacts on Earth's system for that stage. Second, there are 2 possible pathways following the use stage: the compost recycle stage or the disposal landfill stage. If a product is recycled or composted, then raw materials may re-enter the product life cycle again. If a product is disposed of and enters a landfill, the cycle is disrupted. For Lesson 3, students look into how Earth's geologic processes have distributed natural resources, such as trees, copper, and other minerals, unevenly around the globe. This is when we start to focus in on specific parts of the life cycle model, this time looking more closely at the geologic distribution stage. Unit challenge teams are each assigned one wall insulation material and consider what natural resources are needed for manufacturing. Students are provided information and maps regarding the distribution of the major raw materials that go into their assigned wall insulation product and investigate its availability. Lesson 4 concentrates on how growing human populations affect the supply and distribution of natural resources. Students engage in activities to experience dealing with limited resources and access to resources. The life cycle model focus for this lesson is on the acquisition stage. In Lesson 5, students examine the properties of various materials and how we exploit these properties to make useful things. The cross-cutting concept, structure, and function is addressed in this lesson. Students think about properties which are common to different kinds of insulation material and what function these properties might serve. For example, students may notice that all the insulation materials are lightweight and are kind of fluffy or puffy, and then think about why this is so. This lesson is related to both the acquisition and manufacturing stages of the product life cycle. Lesson 6 is about how humans synthesize natural resources into useful products and the role of science, engineering, and technology in this process. Students dig into how all sorts of things are manufactured or synthesized, and in the connect phase, explore how their assigned insulation material is made. Lesson 6 is mostly about the manufacturing stage of the life cycle, but the use stage is also relevant. Lesson 7 engages students in modeling the particle nature of matter and thermal energy. This lesson is focused on the use stage of the life cycle model, and students wrestle with ideas about how insulation materials work to minimize the transfer of thermal energy from one place to another. Take note of the definitions of heat, temperature, and thermal energy provided on this slide. It's important for you to know that in May of 2018, much of the thermal energy content of this lesson was moved to Unit 7.3, Cooling Hot Dogs. If your students have already completed Unit 7.3, then you may want to omit parts of Lesson 7. Various options are outlined in the lesson plan. Lesson 8 steps back from the details of the life cycle model to provide a big picture look at the effects of each stage on Earth's systems and how negative effects can be minimized. Special attention is given to the disposal and compost recycle stages. The unit challenge connection in this lesson is somewhat difficult, as it asks students to consider how the entire life cycle for their insulation material plays into a decision about selecting the one best material. As in all MyStar units, the closing lesson asks students to reflect on and then present what they've learned in the unit, as they apply their new understanding and skills to the unit challenge. The suggested presentation format is PowerPoint slides, but you're free to establish your own presentation format and guidelines. Unit challenge teams use evidence gathered in the previous lessons to reason out why their assigned insulation material is or is not a good solution to the unit challenge. As each team presents, individual students complete their own copy of an evidence matrix. Finally, students engage in a classroom discussion about their recommendations for the insulation material to be used, based on their completed evidence matrices. Hopefully, you now have a big picture view of Unit 7.4. Remember, if you need to refresh your understanding of the science concepts in this unit, check out the Teacher Background Content Resources, which you can find online in the Curriculum portal, as shown here by the green arrow. This document also contains the link to the Unit 7.4 Misconceptions document, which is used by many teachers before classroom implementation. You've reached the end of the Unit 7.4 Synopsis video. Thank you for your attention, and we hope your students have fun learning as they complete Unit 7.4.